So anyway, as you can see from these little experiments, the positioning inside the room is very, very critical to the intensity, shape, and amplitude of the signal that comes out the window. You know, a small change of even a foot away from the window can substantially change the pattern and the intensity of sounds. And by the time you get all the way into the room, over there by the down the hall shots, or down here where the accidental discharge occurred, you're talking about a completely different pattern than if you're either right at the window or hanging out a little bit or just a half a foot or foot inside. So each time that the shooter changed weapons, he probably came in and reoriented himself by a few inches, and that would make some difference in the sounds that we hear. Now you have to understand that these models are not the real thing, and they won't be the real thing until I do a tremendous amount of work with a real sound modeling system. These are just, crude approximations, but they give you an interesting concept of what you can look forward to, in that, as you change the position inside the room, the beam changes. It can change from broad to narrow. It can change from pointing south to pointing north. It can change from 150 decibels outside the window to 110 decibels outside the window. And so when the muzzle is right up next to the window, you're probably getting at least 50% of the acoustic energy coming out the window. And it's when you're over here at the down the hall shots, you're probably getting less than 10%, perhaps even as small as 1/10 of 1%. I have to do a better simulation to make those numbers accurate. We have seen from these models that you can hear sounds even at the foundation room, simply by the fact that the sound refracts around angles or corners or things like that. So it does help us understand. It does help us ask some questions and further our understanding of what might have happened that evening. So when you come across questions like, well, when you have the first 6 shots in the Lost Uber video and they're just tremendously low intensity, is that feasible? Is it feasible that the shooter was somewhat inside